Thank you for listening to Shulchanaruchharav.com.
Is it permitted for the wife of a Kohen who is pregnant to visit a cemetery? In the previous halacha we discussed the general ruling regarding a pregnant woman visiting a cemetery and how there is no source to prohibit such a thing and it is permitted to do so, although some are accustomed to avoid doing so and those who have this custom are to abide by it. This was all regarding the general populace, and now we will discuss regarding the pregnant wife of a Kohen and if min adin it is permitted or forbidden for it to enter a cemetery, and how this can reveal to us a very interesting understanding and reason behind those accustomed not to enter a cemetery when pregnant, even if they are not married to a Kohen. So the obvious issue with a pregnant wife of a Kohen entering a cemetery is perhaps the fetus will be a male, meaning a Kohen, and it will become impure through her entering into the cemetery, tumas meis. And as we know, it is biblically forbidden even today for a Kohen to become impure, and it is biblically forbidden for any individual to make a Kohen become impure, such as to take a baby boy who's a Kohen into a cemetery. So does this apply even to a fetus, or only once he is actually born? So the Poskim, Rishonim, and Achreinim discuss this question and rule that it is permitted for the pregnant wife of a Kohen to enter a cemetery. There is no need to worry of this concept that the boy will become impure. The fetus, if it is a boy, will become impure due to various reasons. So rules the Rekeach in 366, one of the Rishonim, the Shach in Yeridea 371.1, the Magen Avram in 343.3, the Knesset Hagdolah, Derech HaChaim, Chochmas Adam, Kitz Shulchanaruch, Mishnah Brura, and many other Achreinim. What are the reasons? So regarding the reasons, we find two different reasons regarding why this is mutter, and there is a practical ramification between them. The Rekeach suggests that the reason is due to a sfek, a double doubt. Number one, perhaps this fetus is a female. There's no prohibition of impurifying a female kohenes. And number two, even if it's a male, who says it's going to be a healthy birth? Maybe it'll be a stillborn. So due to the sfek, the Rekeach and Shach rule, it is permitted for the mother, the pregnant mother, to enter into a cemetery. However, the Magen Avram and Radbaz rule the reason is because the fetus is protected within the womb from contracting its impurity. It's considered bebeis habliya. Any item in the innards of a person does not contract impurity to a mace, to a corpse, and so too here, says the Magen Avram and Radbaz. Since the fetus is enveloped within the womb, therefore, even if we know it's a male, it cannot contract impurity. What is the practical ramification between these two reasons? Number one, if in truth it is a boy, does it contract impurity? And number two, if one knows for sure that it is a boy, may one enter into a cemetery anyways? So the Chida and Birkei Yosef, as well as the Kaf HaChaim and other Poskim, write that according to the first reason of sveka, if you know it's a boy, there's no longer a question, and you're not allowed to enter into a cemetery, because according to them, there is a concept of impurity, even if the fetus is in the mother's womb and is considered yerech ima, an extension of the mother. So it ends up that while everyone agrees that if you don't know the gender of the child, it's mutter for a pregnant wife of a Kohen to enter a cemetery for one reason or another. If the mother does know the gender of the child, such as through an ultrasound, and she knows it's a male, then this is dependent on the reasons mentioned, and according to some poskim, wouldn't be allowed. Practically, min adin, we are lenient, and it's mutter for the pregnant wife of a Kohen to enter into a cemetery, and there's room to be lenient even if she knows that the fetus is a male. However, based on the ruling of the Birkei Yosef and other poskim, it is proper to be stringent, not to do so, especially if she knows that the child is a male, or she is at the end of her pregnancy and ready to give birth. As if she's about to give birth, we suspect it may actually happen in a cemetery. So rules Sheilas Yavitz in Volume 2, Tshuva 174, and other poskim. Other poskim argue in this as well and permit even if it's at the end of birth. So rules the Mishnah Brura and the Radbaz and Shari Tshuva. And practically in such a case, one is to ask their Rav. So to summarize, it is permitted for the pregnant wife of a Kohen to enter a cemetery, although some are stringent, especially if the woman knows the gender of the child is at the end of the term of her pregnancy. Asking Rav Ashalem al Kohen of Beitar regarding what is the practice in this issue, he replied that the custom is to be mekel completely, to allow the wife of a Kohen who's pregnant to enter a cemetery in all cases. The conclusion of this discussion regarding the pregnant wife of a Kohen can now be used to explain the anomaly of why we find even pregnant women who are not the wives of Kohenim who avoid entering a cemetery during their pregnancy. Writes the Minchas Yitzchak in his Tshuva in volume 10, Tshuva 42. From the above discussion and debate, we learn that according to some poskim, it's possible for a male child in the fetus to contract impurity. Whether you have to suspect for it is a different question, but is it possible for them to become impure? Yes, according to some opinions. Says the Minchas Yitzchak, the holy mothers of Klal Yisrael have a powerful anticipation for the rebuilding of the temple, and hope and pray that not only will it be rebuilt, but that their children will merit to be the ones to perform the necessary actions required for preparing the Parah Aduma, which requires people who have never become impure to Tumas Meis before, such as a newly born child. Now, if they enter the cemetery and we follow the approach that even a fetus can become impure, they won't be able to merit to be chosen to help prepare the Parah Aduma. And for this reason, writes the Minchas Yitzchak, many women are accustomed to never enter into a cemetery when pregnant to keep their child pure, so he too can have a part in the Parah Aduma preparation when Mashiach comes.
Thank you for listening to Shulchanaruchharav.com. Our free services of making Torah knowledge available to the public depends on donors like you. Please help us continue our work through making even a small contribution at Shulchanaruchharav.com under the Daily Halacha Dedication section or in the subscription page. Also, check out our online courses and many sefarim available for purchase that will both enhance your Torah knowledge and help support our work.